The British Empire knows that its American project is once and truly over. With the loss at Guatemala, after Marines have landed and captured a vast amount of British troops trying to invade, the last remaining large capital ships in the Caribbean having been sunk, the British have sent a few cruisers to evacuate their old battleships that were using on coastal defense from the Caribbean towards the European homeland. They are sailing out under the watchful eyes and large guns of the USS Kansas. The Admiralty has decided, with some regret, that while valiant, we cannot risk the British force, old as it may be, to threaten our transport routes, and as such we will be engaging and sinking this last remaining group. Britain needs to be shown once and for all and delivered a defeat so significant that it will not try to rise against us again. We have the USS Kansas in the lead of her group, a second group consisting of San Francisco and the light cruisers, and some of the destroyers will be on scouting duty. But the main heavy hitters are going to be Kansas's 18-inch guns. And we've already spotted the British. It's a clear day. There is the lead ship, and they are the three older battleships. They look relatively refitted, so who knows? Maybe the British have modernized them somewhat. But first things first, we're actually still organizing the line. Kansas and her group have to turn to port. The cruisers are going to approach from here, and we've got a line of destroyers coming in and a second line of destroyers coming in here. Ready to smoke up. The biggest threat are probably the British light cruisers, because these things have a stupid amount of torpedoes. So we definitely want to make sure that we deal with these from a distance rather than engaging them up close in torpedo range. Battleships are opening up, but we are at extreme range. So there is one of the... this is probably the heavy cruiser. So the two light cruisers are on the other side. Okay, so we are getting the Kansas and the battleships turned around and to engage. Cruisers coming in from the other side, and the two destroyer groups going in for a torpedo run. We'll peel off to both sides, drop the torpedoes once we get a little closer. Right now we have a 17-kilometer range, which is still too far, and just have to be careful with the light cruisers and their torpedoes. So definitely the destroyers need to get close in. And yeah, there comes incoming fire towards the destroyers, so we'll start smoking up. Where are they turning? Yeah, the whole group is turning. So let's get the first destroyer group. Let's get the first destroyer group to start developing a torpedo solution, and please target the lead ship of the battle group. Second destroyer line coming in, target the lead ship as well. Second destroyer line is going to be going past on port, whereas the first one is going past on starboard. And yeah, we just have to be careful with these light cruisers. Meanwhile, cruisers are going to go wide and going to try and deal with the light cruisers with support from the destroyers for spotting, whereas the battle line is going for the enemy capital ships. All right, I think we are all set up strategically. Now it's just a matter of getting into range and making sure that we are not dropping too closely. 8 kilometers. What's the torpedo range on? We are definitely within, we've got 12 kilometer torpedo range. So I think we can get Evans's group to turn about. We don't want to get any closer to these light cruisers. And drop the torpedoes. Yeah, we're already taking hits here. 11-inch hits actually. It's quite surprising that they're this effective, but let's get the torpedoes away. First group and then turn hard about. Second destroyer group is making their run, start smoking up, and we'll see if that causes the British to maneuver once we are dropping the torpedoes. Cruiser group, ideally target the light forces if we can, but we don't have any kind of vision on them just yet, so we're just getting the cruisers positioned. Second destroyer group is making their run. Start developing a solution, please. First group has launched torpedoes, so we're just gonna get away from there. Herbert has launched, yeah, so torpedoes off again. Both have taken light damage, and I don't think the British have reacted, so I think we're good to drop a second spread. So let's get the Fitzgerald group to turn about and drop a second spread. Cruisers are sailing around, trying to. What we do have to be a little bit careful. Let's drop our speed to 25 knots on the cruisers, and be a bit careful with return torpedoes. Battle line is closing in the distance towards the British, and still might actually need to go a bit more to port. Still hasn't really landed any hits with the heavy guns. Okay, they are now maneuvering, so we'll see if these torpedo drops are successful. Fitzgerald, Farragut's launching torpedoes, and O'Brien still has to launch. So maybe this pushes, maybe the maneuvering is going to push them into the wake of the torpedoes on the other side. Nice maneuvering there from the British. I'm not sure where there are my torpedoes incoming from the first destroyer group. So if we're lucky, we might get some torpedo hits from the evasion that they were doing on the second group. We might see some torpedo hits here on this battleship if she is turning fully into that torpedo spread that was launched by first group. Second group's torpedoes are probably going to miss unless they do a full turn. She might be picking up speed, so maybe these torpedoes here if we're lucky. I think the first they have seen the torpedoes. The secondaries are opening up on them, so maybe these torpedoes might hit this battleship, but I think she's turning into it too much, and maybe we get one, maybe two torpedo hits here. Yeah, these ones have missed. And she is turning to avoid. Very maneuverable, these British ships. Okay, one torpedo hit. That has caused rudder damage. That one was a dud. And second dud. That is very unfortunate. So, not the greatest outcome from the torpedo action. But let's see if we can close in with the battleships. And I think... nope, that was just a penetration hit. Okay, let's get the destroyers back into action. Evans has taken some damage on the bridge, and I would like the second destroyer group to turn about as well, and basically go around the other side and off with the torpedoes, and get back into the fray. These destroyers are on screening, so we should be relatively safe from enemy torpedoes. And I am looking for the light cruisers. I think it's these ones. Okay, cruiser line, all ahead flank, and start targeting the light cruisers. Give chase here. And feel free to fire torpedoes if you see fit. We have plenty of targets here. The British are retreating, and the screening forces are actually taking point there in that regard. What's the distance from San Francisco? We just have to be careful with the battleship guns here. 11 kilometers. It's a little far. Kansas group is making their pass. They've got their guns on target, so I'm not going to mess with them too much. And they are targeting the Emperor of India, who has taken some severe damage. I'm not sure if she was the one taking torpedoes here. That one's undamaged. Yeah, she was the one taking torpedoes, so she is relatively low in the water, which means hopefully Kansas's guns are going to be doing the deed here. But San Francisco is now starting to take fire. So the battleships are working to secure their screens here, which is a bit unfortunate, really. So we might have to go around a bit further and try to catch these light cruisers from a distance. We really want these light cruisers gone. Let's open up the distance a little bit. Destroyer line is coming back in for another run. She's got torpedoes ready. So we would be probably targeting the lead ship of the battle group. And we're going to get the destroyers to make another run in. Second destroyer group needs to get in there as well. And the battleships are closing in on the Emperor of India. We are starting to land some hits on the light cruiser. Definitely something we want to engage from long range. A couple of torpedoes away, but Juno has taken a hit, I think, from one of the 11 inchers over there. Yes, so definitely want to be a bit more careful. We are taking too much fire here on the cruisers. Let's get the battleships engaged more closely. Please try to finish off the Emperor of India if you can. And none of the light cruisers is on that side. Destroyer action. Destroyers are coming in. Target the Magnificent and get torpedo solutions ready, please. So we'll get the destroyers coming in. Cruisers hitting the light cruiser, which is good. Second destroyer group is making a frontal run as well. So start developing torpedo solutions. Evans and Herbert coming in for a torpedo run. They have launched torpedoes on one side, and we'll go turn about and launch the torpedoes on the other side as well. So have to make sure we're not torpedoing each other here. So second destroyer group, and I think the cruiser group should be safe, but Juno has taken a lot of damage. We are going to have to detach Juno. She is going to smoke up and she is going to retreat. I do have to be careful not to torpedo our own battle lines, so I am going to have to turn to port here. And we're going to drop speed to 17 knots. Turn to port just to avoid our own torpedoes here. Cruiser line has taken a beating, and Juno has to disengage after taking some heavy hits here. From the 11 inchers, destroyers have their torpedoes away, so smoke and turn about. Second destroyer group is dropping torpedoes and can turn about as well. A battleship line should be safe, and we just want to finish off the Emperor of India here from close range with Kansas, who is taking a bit of fire here, honestly, but I think it's mostly on the secondaries. And we're just waiting for the 18 inchers to bark. Yeah, and that hurts. Severe heavy hits here from Kansas 18 inchers and from the secondaries. Kansas is fine. She can take that kind of punishment. I don't think these things have torpedoes. They're just more on the gun side. Cruisers need to turn around again and retarget the not this one. Heavy cruiser seems to be escaping, but we want to get beads on the light cruisers. I'm not sure where our torpedoes went, but we are going to get the destroyers to see if they can reacquire the light cruisers. Second destroyer group can turn about as well. Torpedoes off, and just a quick look. The British are very spread out now, so they're definitely putting up a fight, more of a fight than I would have thought. But these are probably our own torpedoes. I'm not sure. So definitely, let's do a hard turn from the Kansas. Drop speed further to 15 knots as to make sure that we're not running into our own torpedoes here. And Emperor of India looks like she's about to go down. So once that's happened, we are going to turn the battle line around. Cruisers are operating and still chasing down the enemy light cruisers. Nope, that's the Glory. Is that the Glory? Has a smoke screen. Yes, that seems to be the Glory. So I'm not sure where the enemy light cruisers are. We're going to chase them down and we're going to find them again. presumably with the destroyers, if we can. It's the fastest craft. And yeah, it looks like the torpedoes were not successful here. Okay, the Emperor of India is sinking. That means the next, the battleships now need to turn about. And I am going to detach Kansas here because she is faster than the rest of her brethren. She can go up to 29 knots. So let's get Kansas to turn about and go after the Magnificent next. Whereas the other three can operate in a group. And they are only going to be capable of 21 knots. So that group can turn about as well and target the last battleship here. In fact, there's one more, I think. There's one of the light cruisers. Okay, we definitely don't want to engage them that quickly or that closely. So let's get turned around. Where do we have the... there's the other destroyer group. Torpedoes off. So let's get them back into the game. And these two destroyers are going after the Glory. And they have spotted one of the other light cruisers. Taking a lot of fire here unnecessarily. So let's turn about. Yeah, they actually are too close to the Magnificent. They don't have torpedoes ready, unfortunately. Otherwise, this would have been a good position. But let's get them out of here. Battleship line turning about into a chase, and Kansas as well, slowly gaining speed, and will try to take on the rest of them there. While the cruisers are dodging enemy torpedoes. Let's straighten them out, and I think hopefully we get a solution on the enemy light cruiser and can get that thing out of the equation. The sheer amount of torpedoes on these light cruisers should be illegal by all means. Okay. Kansas turning about very, very slowly. And hopefully she can catch up with Magnificent. My concern more at the moment is the cruiser line. Now we'll do have to keep maneuvering to keep up with the enemy light cruiser, which keeps throwing our aim off. And the destroyer line is making their way over. Second destroyer line does not have torpedoes ready and is coming under relatively heavy fire, so they are going to... They can target the Magnificent as well, but she is chasing after the destroyers now, which is less than ideal. Get your torpedoes away if you have a chance. Although actually no, because we're chasing from the other side, so torpedoes are probably not a great idea. Let's just sail away with the destroyers and see if we can get the cruisers to chase down that light cruiser, and we just have to be really careful about torpedoes. We are 10 kilometers away. It's probably still within torpedo range, so we do have to be a bit careful here. Okay, Farragut has torpedoes ready, and I think Fitzgerald is still reloading, so let's make a pass on the Magnificent and see if we can drop some torpedoes in her wake. And if we can manage to get some good hits in, and then we are probably going to... Yeah, it's still going to take a minute here to reload. Do have to watch out though with the cruisers, because we are closing in on the enemy light cruiser significantly, so we are going to have to make a turn here just in case she gets torpedoes away. We've done a little bit of damage, but not an awful lot so far. So let's turn in and see if we can make that happen. Meanwhile, destroyers have launched, but I think that has forced the Magnificent out of turn. So off with the torpedoes again. I don't think these torpedoes are going to hit, but they're also not a threat. So how far is Kansas away? Kansas is going to need to close in more. The other battleships are actually closer. Kansas needs to close in here on the Magnificent and get her guns on target. And there come the torpedoes. Yes, this is what I was afraid of. So now we are unfortunately committed at this point. There are more and more torpedoes coming. Yeah, there's another spread of torpedoes coming in, so San Francisco has to dodge now. and the 2 cruisers following behind as well, so we do have to react relatively early. So just bob and weave and get this yeah, there comes the next torpedo spread. That's the problem with these light cruisers. They are sending an absolutely insane amount of torpedoes out. Where are these aimed? Let's perform the turn. We should be good. Hopefully we should be good to clear these torpedoes before they get here. A hard turn from San Francisco to avoid the torpedoes, and hopefully the rest of the ships can follow. And I think we should be mostly clear here. And I'm not sure if she has more torpedoes ready, but these light cruisers are extremely dangerous because you can't really hit them from long range, and if you get any closer, the sheer amount of torpedoes they can spit out is a huge problem. So let's make sure we are New Haven is clear. Okay, yeah, we're clear. And we are now closing in on the light cruiser, trying to destroy it. And now we are starting to land the hits. This is the kind of range that you need to engage. Unfortunately, that also means you need to dodge torpedoes very frequently. But now she is well within range of all of these guns, and it's not just San Francisco's 8-inchers, it's Salem's and New Haven's 6-inch guns as well. Let's get a little bit closer still to make sure the secondaries are getting on target. I don't think she is still capable of launching torpedoes here, and she is now getting absolutely hammered. So I think that light cruiser is hopefully done. Quick look at the O'Brien has been sunk. Not sure from what. She might have. I'm not sure if she took a torpedo out of that. But let's get. Okay, the Magnificent has been sunk, which means the Kansas has actually gotten way too close to the Glory here. Can now shift her fire. Same with the second battleship group. Shift your fire to the Glory. Turn in. Cruisers are in need of finishing off that light cruiser here. Okay, the Pearl is done. Now take on the other light cruiser, because that actually is a bit of a threat towards the Kansas potentially. Kansas slow down to 23 knots. And target a Spartan actually, because this is the bigger threat. That light cruiser is the bigger threat for the Kansas. There is a torpedo coming in, I think, from the other side. Torpedo spread. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but that might have been from the Devonshire over there. Yeah, Kansas has gotten a little close here. All right, all ahead flank again. We'll have to try and outrun these torpedoes if we can, and get through there as quickly as possible. Turn into the torpedoes. That is a beautiful cross drop, if I may, from the British. So while the battleships are not a huge threat, the Kansas is now under severe torpedo threat from the cruisers. And I think she will be able to. Can I get the rudder around in time? Yes, we can. Okay, Kansas. No, she's taken one torpedo hit, but it has caused minor flooding, but mostly been dealt with by the torpedo defense. There comes another torpedo. So Kansas now needs to maneuver. So there's another spread of torpedoes. Just keep the bow into the torpedoes. And guns trained on the light cruiser. If she can land, I think, probably one good hit, then she will be done for. That cruiser will be done for. This torpedo spread should be fine. Drop speed, 14 knots. Engine full reverse. There's another torpedo spread. Yeah, I did not see that this light cruiser was so close, because he was significantly closer than I thought. He was hiding in a smoke screen. So we're dodging these torpedoes. There are more Devonshire torpedoes coming in. Kansas is slowing to a stop now, and has dodged these torpedoes. And we're good with the Devonshire torpedoes. Okay, engines back to normal. But Kansas has lost all of her speed at this point, so the rest of the battle group has to take down the Glory. Kansas is pretty much dead in the water at this stage. She has minor flooding, but nothing that they can't get under control. However, she has no more room for maneuverability. So cruiser group, the battleship group is focusing their fire on the Glory. Cruiser group is coming in to save the day and to take down the Spartan. We'll just do a turn here just to be sure. And Kansas is good, but needs to start building up speed again. Let's get back to 21 knots. There comes the Devonshire as well. This is the 18-inchers firing up with high explosive, and we're actually high explosive over penetrating, but she has blown the Spartan out of the water. Turn the guns around up to 25 knots. Cruiser group, battleship group still taking on the Glory. Cruiser group go after the Devonshire. So turn about and go after the Devonshire. Destroyer group. Okay, the Swanson actually has taken some fire here, so let's detach the Swanson. Swanson retreat. And there are more torpedoes passing by. I'm not sure where they are from, but I think Kansas is in a point-blank engagement with the Devonshire, which is not ideal. So I'm not going to worry about the Glory too much right now, but we are going to engage the Devonshire at point-blank range with Kansas. She is a battleship, she can take it, but the Devonshire might be going for a torpedo run here. So we are already going to do a hard turn to port and again drop speed to 13 knots. That is going to throw her guns off, of course, but right now it's more about dodging torpedoes potentially than it is about destruction. Battleship group is still close. Arizona has taken some damage here, but they are shredding the Glory to bits, so that's not a problem. Cruiser group rushing in to take down the Devonshire as quickly as possible. So all cruisers, yeah, there come the torpedoes. I don't know where they were launched at, but not at Kansas. Okay, straighten out. Kansas is still having light flooding, but they're getting it under control. Not sure what these torpedoes were launched at, but cruisers are getting very close now to the Devonshire. And just finish her off if you can. And now she is getting absolutely crossfired here, and she is getting blown to pieces, literally, in a in a Pirates of the Caribbean style moment. She is taking fire from two sides, and she is absolutely torn to shreds by the Kansas's guns and by the cruiser guns from the other side here. And she is sinking indeed, which means Kansas is safe and can now engage Glory, turn the ship around, engage Glory. And the rest of the battle line is in a point-blank duel with the last remaining battleship. So I don't think there is going to be much left of the British after this furious engagement. So we've given the British a good send-off, and we've definitely done. They have been fighting valiantly, but the Glory is now down as well, and that ends the battle, the last battle for the Brits in the Caribbean. Some damage and losses. We've lost the O'Brien in the engagement, but we have sunk the Emperor of India, the Glory, the Magnificent, Devonshire, Pearl, and Spartan for a decisive victory. The record for damage dealt goes to the Kansas without doubt, because the 18-inchers she has caused a significant amount of damage. But the Magnificent as well has been giving relatively well. Probably she might have been the one taking out the O'Brien. As the war comes to a close, it is now up to the politicians to find a settlement with the British Empire. They have been decisively defeated at sea. Their attempt at securing their colonial foothold in Central and South America has been thwarted. They have been pushed out of most of their colonies, and the Royal Navy no longer rules the oceans. They have lost access to most of their Caribbean possessions, And while the fighting still continues on the lines in Central and South America, the British are very much losing everywhere. This ends the era of British global naval dominance and brings in a new era of American dominance in the Pacific and the Atlantic, with new threats on the horizon, Japan being one of them. We are once again trying to assert their dominance over Asia. And in Europe, Germany is, after being part of the European alliance, now becoming dangerously assertive of Eastern Europe, and new ideologies appear to be emerging after the old German, French, British alliance has failed to put down the new American power in the world. So our work is far from done, but my time is over as an admiral, and it is time enough for me to retire, to hand over the mantle to somebody else. And I have brought the American Navy from a coastal defense fleet to a ocean-spanning superpower. And if that will bring peace to the world, we shall see. But we will give it our best effort for freedom and democracy. And that's it for everybody with the Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts series. I will put Ultimate Admiral a bit on a pause. I will actually update the game because I am on a very old version of it. And the next series, once I am done with actually building a PC, is going to be Crusader Kings. That doesn't mean that Ultimate Admiral is completely gone. I will probably be doing some smaller videos, maybe around ship design and some sandbox ideas and some similar things, just trying a couple of things out. But not necessarily a major series just now, because I have so many other games that I would like to feature. Maybe at some point in the future we'll get another Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought series. But for now, thanks everybody who's been sticking with this. I know that Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts is not a crowd favorite, and is not everybody's cup of tea as a game. I still find it, with all its flaws, severely enjoyable. So there we are, and I wish you all a great day, and I will see you next time with whatever comes up on the channel.